On this week's episode of the WNP podcast, we look at the implications of week one. Mike has two big questions on his mind, and we lock in our week two predictions. Stay tuned. Episode 112. The We're Not Professionals podcast. I'm your host, Mike Mitchelson. Chase Crawshaw with me today. Chase, how you doing?
I am doing swell. Could be doing even sweller if I could breathe. But
we don't need that.
Yeah, it's fair. But here I am. Struggled through the first podcast. Hopefully we're better this time around.
I sure hope so. Today on the WNP podcast, as you heard, going to be looking at week one, kind of talk about some of the games that can be highlighted. It's Monday night game. Oh my gosh, that Raiders-Ravens game, phenomenal.
Who would have thunk it?
I know, right? And then we've got two big questions to ask. Then we're going to be making our picks for week two. We also have to go over what our week one predictions look like. Why don't we do that first? Yeah?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, so you and I are on this, but also our buddies Alec, Graham, Chris, Johnny, and Garrett, they wanted to get in on all the action as well.
Buddies is a loose term. Just keep that in mind.
Not a surprise. What we do over here is pretty neat. So them wanting to get in on all the action, not a surprise. All right, week one, I went 8-8. You went 9-7.
Woo!
Alec went 9-7.
Boo.
Graham 6-10. Chris coming out with a hot 5-11. And then Johnny and Garrett, they decided that they would go the cowards route compared to Chris. So what happened? The three of them did not predict the first game. They did not predict the Thursday night game. Chris said, hey, I didn't predict it. That's my fault. Give me a loss. The other two, they're like, well, don't give me a loss yet, but if that's the big difference when it comes down to it, then you can give me the loss. Just take the loss right away.
Chris is a man's man for a reason,
right?
And Johnny's a boy's boy for a reason.
And I texted everyone, including Garrett. I had to text Garrett separately because he's not in the group chat. But I said, if you don't get me your picks in from now on, it's just going to be straight losses. So if someone misses a whole week, that's their fault. They lose all of them. They go 0-16.
Yeah, that would be tough. But that's the beauty with me. I'm always going to be here. So I'm always going to get them in, except for I think I'll still be here next weekend. I think we're going to record earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll always be here. So I'll be good.
Yeah, and I'll always have mine in as well. Chase, the big differences between you and me, I think we had three differences, and two of them went your way. One of them went mine. You had Philly over Atlanta. Who would have thought? You, apparently. I had KC over Cleveland, and then you had Miami over New England, which was our big differences there.
That KC over Cleveland one,
you're hurt by it?
It was looking good. And then I remembered, Patrick Mahomes has never thrown an interception, let alone lost in the month of September. And sure enough, that narrative stayed true. Also,
the one thing that I absolutely love about this, looking at our predictions, we both have Cincinnati over Minnesota. The rest all had Minnesota. Oh, it feels so good to give them Reds there.
I don't know why, but it felt obvious to me. Yeah. I don't know what about it. It just felt too obvious.
Well, I think that Chris and Johnny think Minnesota is going to have a top 10 defense.
It's just not good enough right now. It just isn't. It doesn't matter how good your coaching is. They've always had good pieces, and they don't have enough good pieces in.
And no one seems to like my Bengals. They think Jamar Chase can't get separation. He drops the ball too many times. 0 drops this game. 101 yards. Touchdown. Not a big deal.
Did we look at the ball and see if maybe the offensive lineman was painting it white every time? And then the paint was still wet. So as it was coming through the air, once it finally got to Jamar, he saw it long enough so he could catch it, but the paint came off.
That would make sense, actually.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Also, just got to hype up my Bengals just a little bit more. Sorry. Only 7 offensive linemen or offensive tackles, I think, played 50% or more snaps and didn't let up a sack. Jonah Williams is one of them. Penei Sewell wasn't, and this isn't trashing Penei Sewell, but this is for the people that are saying, oh, they need Penei Sewell. They don't have a tackle. Well, what did Jonah Williams just do, and what did Jamar Chase just do?
Yeah, no, it's fair.
Suck it.
Yeah, it ended up going well for the Bengals week one, but it went better than I thought it was going to be for the Lions, too, while we were on that really quickly.
And you were there.
Yeah, I was there. I was
you
there.
You were there for the down. You didn't get to see the up.
Yeah, we got 7 minutes left in the game. We're they just don't look very good right now. Maybe we should get going to beat traffic. We kind of want to get home. We don't want to leave the dog home alone. It's supposed to storm and stuff. I put on a red zone in the car, 8-minute walk max, and all of a sudden it's 41-33, and they just caught the 2-point conversion. I'm like, what the hell happened? And sure enough, they show the replays. They got an onside kick after going down, scoring a touchdown, scored another one. Then they caused the fumble to happen, and almost freaking, won there at the end, but just fell a little short. It was a great effort though. The valiant effort. It's what you want to see out of a brand new coaching staff in that kind of game where they're completely written off to win. They ended up covering on the back door, which is great. They played pretty well there at the end, and some inspiring football, and Penei Sewell played fantastic.
Yeah. I see that a lot of people are giving Rashawn Slater the hype. He didn't let up a sack, which is awesome. But Penei Sewell was a stud. And there's a lot of question marks on if the Lions should keep him there. And when Taylor Decker comes back, throw him to the other side.
There should be no question marks. He went against Nick Bosa and won probably 95% of the reps, legitimately. If the youngest starting offensive lineman in NFL history to do that against maybe the best pass rusher in the league, that's a hell of a way to start. Like, he would have to be really bad in these next 3 games, every single game, to not warrant staying there. He'd have to be like letting up 3 sacks a game. Like there's just no chance you could even think about moving him to the right side.
Which seems really weird to me. And I get that transitioning to a different side there's a big difference, right? But from the preseason, he was one of the 2 worst graded first round rookies aside Jamar Chase. And then he just comes to the left side and he's easily one of the better young players out there in the league. And saying young players, not just rookies. Him and Rashawn Slater. Rashawn Slater went up against Chase Young. Both very impressive game ones.
Yeah, and Penei Sewell ended up being the highest graded offensive rookie lineman.
Yeah.
Offensive lineman, rookie offensive lineman, however you want to word it. So that was a great way to start. And, just last kind of thing on this before we move on to whatever the next point's going to be. And, like, for people that don't know, like left tackle and right tackle protection is completely different because left tackle, that's where you're facing more of the true pass rushers. They're trying to get the quarterback on their blind side because they're more likely to fumble the ball or to get hit on the release because they're not seeing the hit coming. So you're getting more of the true, like, elite pass rushers coming off of that, which is the right side for the defense, the left side for the offense. On the right side, it's a little more kind of like power, maybe someone that's able to get up and try to deflect the balls that's coming out of the air, someone that's more disrupting than actually getting the sacks. So it's completely different types of protection. And that's really where Penei struggled because he never played that position before. And was trying to learn the whole thing new. But sure enough, you throw where it's all natural to him because it was all just natural ability at the left tackle position for him. And sure enough, he dominated. You can't move him away.
Next up, Chase, I want to talk about your number 2 and number 3 favorite team. All of us, except for Alec and supposedly Garrett. He gave me his predictions after the games were already started and said, oh, I have them on my betting website or whatever. So I'm like, all right, whatever. All of us had Jacksonville winning except for Garrett. All of us had Buffalo winning except for Alec and Garrett. What happened? I mean, Trevor Lawrence threw 3 picks. Josh Allen, I think he was 30 for 51 through the air. The run game was non-existent, and the connection between him and Stephon Diggs just didn't really look like it was the same. What happened with your 2 teams here?
Trevor Lawrence started exactly how you'd expect the first overall pick rookie quarterback to start. He showed a lot of promise and showed a lot of shittiness. Like, it's not a very good Jacksonville team. There's some good weapons that can be used, but it's still a young team. It's still trying to figure it out how it all works together. You got Urban Meyer, who was not a hire that I liked in the beginning, but regardless, now he's here. He's trying to implement his system of football. And then the defense is just, completely ransacked. There's nothing very special there. So he looked like how you would expect most quarterbacks in that situation to play. I mean, he probably played better than a lot of quarterbacks would in that situation anyway. Even like seasoned veterans might not have played as well. He still threw for 300+ yards, 3 touchdowns. He still found the end zone. He still got the ball downfield. He just got to make better decisions when it gets down to. He was probably just a little too nervous down the road. He's got to get comfortable with losing because he's not on a very good team. I think he's going to eventually, after 3-4 straight losses, he can realize, all right, I've just got to take these, absorb them, understand them, move on, blah blah blah, and he'll be fine, just fine down the road. But it could be a rough stretch just in the beginning for the Jags, and then Buffalo. Just they really need to figure out a run game. They really do. If they could figure out a run game, take off all the pressure of Josh Allen of having to make literally every single play, he'd be allowed to make the plays more comfortable to him. He didn't look very comfortable like at all in this game from what I watched. I didn't get to see a ton of it, but what I did watch going back, he just didn't look very comfortable, kind of looked out of form. the Steelers did a good job obstructing them with their great defense, but going forward, they need to figure out what to do with that run game. Zach Moss is a healthy scratch. I don't care. You got to play him next week, no matter what. Like he just Singletary just by himself is not up there. You got to have as many possibilities to run the ball as possible, just so you can get Josh Allen a little bit of breath, I guess.
And TJ Watt, an absolute beast. Like you said, that Pittsburgh defense is really good, and without the running game, it is a little bit easier for them to scheme against the Bills. Another game that I absolutely loved, Carolina. They versus the New York Jets. Sam Darnold, he gets the win. Love to see that. Arizona, Tennessee. This was a game that I was a little shocked by. Kyler Murray, an absolute beast. Chandler Jones, 5 sacks. Tennessee looked so flat. Ryan Tannehill especially. This is a guy that everyone's been hyping up over this offseason. I think we have as well as, he's a top 10 quarterback. And then he comes out and just doesn't play great, and partially because of Arizona. I mean, how much pressure they got on him was insane.
Go back to the top 10 quarterback thing real quick. I think that is where he is, but according to Graham, he's like a top 4 quarterback. I think Graham had him at number 4. So,
oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that's how the number 4 quarterback played. But yeah, it was just a tough weekend for the Titans. Really, I mean, nothing was going right at the end of the day. Nothing anybody expected. Who would have thought Chandler Jones would have had 5 sacks? And now he's reportedly requested a trade yet again. We saw that on Twitter before we started recording. We'll see if it's true or not. As the coming hours come, by the time this show's out, you'll have a better idea. But there's no way. They're playing the Seahawks, who are a good team, this upcoming week. But there's no way that they look that way. They're gonna get together. They're gonna kind of regroup, figure out what the hell they got to do. Arthur Smith is out as the OC, so now they have whatever his name is in this year. I don't even remember his name, but he's the new OC. So they got to kind of figure out. This didn't work this week. We had a game plan completely different. Get Derrick Henry, different opportunity, because he's really the game's got to run through him, and Tannehill's got to be able to throw 25 to 30 passes of just solid football, and Derrick Henry's got to be able to run 18 to 20 times for his 80 to 100 yards he's guaranteed to get. So they just kind of got to go back, game plan a little differently. I think they'll be just fine going forward.
Offense was super stale, and that top half defense didn't look too great against Kyler Murray.
Kyler played really well.
I just texted Graham and asked him if he has a picture of his top 10 quarterbacks, because if he gets that to me, we'll talk about it before we head off on the show. But Kansas City, Cleveland, that was a fun game to watch, a close one. Miami, New England, the battle of the Alabama quarterbacks. Love to see that as well. But 2 more games I want to talk about. Green Bay versus New Orleans. Jameis Winston played stupid.
Jameis Winston, GOAT.
Yeah.
And then Aaron Rodgers just sucks. Yeah, it was great to see Jameis play well. I mean, he needs to get a sponsorship deal with LASIK after that game.
Some of the throws he was making were phenomenal. He ended with 5 touchdowns, tying his career high. Did not expect the New Orleans Saints to look that good. I really thought this was going to be a year where the Saints maybe go 9-8, maybe even 8-9. Just take that step back. They don't have Drew Brees, Michael Thomas injured. A lot of stuff really didn't go their way, especially because of how many players they had to move out in the offseason so that they could reach the salary cap. Baltimore versus Las Vegas. This was a game I did not expect to be as good as it was. In fact, the first 10 minutes or so, I was watching it, but then I kind of just got sidetracked and did something else, came back for the start of the 4th quarter. Thank gosh I did, because this game was phenomenal.
It was everything you want out of a football game. It was the Raiders starting off slow, and all of a sudden, second half of the game, coming back and just really taking over. It was Darren Waller seeing 149 trillion targets. Next league, you get point per target now, and that too. Like not full point, like a 1/10 of a point. So weird. That's pretty much 2 free points for Darren Waller. So you got 19 targets in that game. Yeah, it was weird too when I noticed. I was like, these scores seem really different. Regardless. It was just super entertaining. Everybody thought that. I'm assuming we all took the Ravens, right?
Yes, every single person took the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, we all thought it was Ravens are going to win by 17. Tyson Williams going to have an awesome game, and he played well while he played. But game started getting down to it. Brought out Latavius Murray, seemed a little more trusted in that pass protection, and so when you're in that close of a game, you want him out there later on. So I get that. I think Tyson will be just fine going forward. But yeah, the Raiders just played like the team we thought they were in the first half of the season last year, really.
Yeah, I'm scared it's going to happen again.
Oh, it's going to happen again.
I am so scared because they're going to start off like 6-0 or something, and then they're going to lose the rest.
6-0 to finish 8-9 and miss playoffs.
Yeah, it's Gosh, I feel bad for Raiders fans. But, hey, it reminded me of Derek Carr, an absolute stud. I want to say he's elite, but that's kind of a hard word to go on. I think he's in that 12 to 10 range for me, like right there with the Ryan Tannehills. And after this week, I think he's much better than Ryan Tannehill. But the fact that he has to basically carry this Las Vegas team, whereas your Mahomes, he's got a great surrounding cast. Justin Herbert, great surrounding cast. Kyler, same thing. Derek Carr doesn't have that, and he still plays phenomenal.
Well, let's not get it twisted. Patrick Mahomes could have the Lions group, and he's still going to make it work. So let's not get anything twisted there. But I get what you're saying, and I do agree to an extent. I think Derek Carr is a good quarterback. I think we're both higher on him than in general. He's pretty lowly looked at just in football circles. Really, I don't understand why. He's always efficient. He's always one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league every single year. He just doesn't make any spectacular plays, but he doesn't ever lose you the game. It's what Derek Carr is. He's still good enough to win you games, but he's not going to lose you games. And if you have the right tools around him, that's a quarterback that you easily win Super Bowls with. But it just not happen. I think that the Raiders, if they did a better job building around him, didn't waste so many first round draft picks, like they could have been a very good team, and Derek Carr wouldn't be in talks of, they need to move on because the team just got done nothing with him. It's kind of the same as Matthew Stafford. Not really his fault. He just never had the right tools. Yeah,
Clelin Ferrell being a healthy scratch, their former, he was third or fourth overall pick. That's ridiculous. Hey, Derek Carr, he did what Baker Mayfield couldn't, put the game away. I think they're very similar quarterbacks, but I've talked about it before. I think Derek Carr's just a little bit better. And you talked about Matt Stafford. How about Matt Stafford? He finally did something. His career wasn't ruined. He finally looks like a good quarterback, unlike...
Do you want to get your ass beat?
Unlike in Detroit. He was never good in Detroit. He was a terrible player, but now he's in LA. He is the almighty. He is the best quarterback ever.
It's so annoying. I was bitching about this to you on Sunday after the game was on. I'm like, I'm going to see this shit on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. Like, Matt Stafford, he's so great. And sure enough, saw it literally everywhere, all over Twitter. One player of the week. Now the media's even deeper on him.
I don't get that. How did he win player of the week over Kyler?
I don't know.
Kyler had 5 touchdowns, like 300 and something yards. Like, it was phenomenal.
It happened on prime time.
Maybe. Or maybe just because he's in LA now.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I told you, the media, the NFL, everything's going to be all over Matt Stafford this year and how he's an elite NFL quarterback. When he's been an elite NFL quarterback from the get-go, literally from the time he stepped in the NFL, he's been a very different talent than most other quarterbacks, if not all other quarterbacks. But it's just never been able to show it because the tools have never been there. Sure enough, the tools are there, and he kind of dominated. Looked like he's a top 5 quarterback in the league.
All right, Chase. Well, let's move on to my 2 big questions here. I'll give you the choice of which one you want to rock with first. After these, we'll get into the predictions for week 2. And, I just got the text from Graham. He said, no, I don't, but I remember my top 10, I think. So maybe he'll text it to us. But here you go. Would you rather the hypothetical question first that really isn't going to have much of an effect on anything podcast-wise, or would you rather the question that takes into account week 1 and is looking forward in the future for this season specifically?
Like I said, the second one.
All right. I want to know when it's time to, when it's okay to overreact versus when it's not okay to overreact at this point. We're only week 1, right? Week 1. We've only seen one game. We shouldn't overreact, right? Or should we? What players, what teams can we overreact on? Specifically, you got Jalen Hurts out there, played phenomenal. Is it time to think, okay, maybe this guy's actually got it? Or is it, hey, we've only seen 1 week of real good production. Let's hold. Josh Allen, has he regressed? What? Or is that too much of an overreaction to this point? Aaron Rodgers, what the hell happened to him? Also, Derek Carr, Kyler Murray looking phenomenal. Is he like a top 5 quarterback now? Is he as good as Lamar now? Tannehill as well. And then also one name that I'm pretty sure everyone's going to recognize here, Jared Goff. Is it an overreaction for me to say I think he might be better than what I thought he was coming into the season? Or it's just one game, dude. Come on. Like, he's actually not that good. What are we thinking?
Week 1 is 100% built for overreactions.
So we should overreact.
Yes. No, 100%. Week 1 in the NFL, it's all about overreactions because you see these first games, you see these guys, and you got to get hyped and excited or take a stance on something. And as you get further into the season, you have 8-9 games to prove. It's nowhere overreacting. It's just reacting. It's just what you're actually seeing, where week 1 is like, oh, this could be fantastic. Oh, this could be disastrous. You got to plant your feet, got to plant your flag on these takes. So you have to overreact in week 1. Week 2, you can overreact. Week 3, it starts getting to the point where it's kind of reaction. Like after the first 3 or 4 weeks, you kind of have an idea how guys are playing. Sure, things can change, but like you can only overreact in the beginning of the year. Like there's really no other time to overreact.
All right, plant your flag in the Hurts overreaction camp. Are we thinking, yeah, he's going to be a really good quarterback, play as well as he has against Atlanta, or is that too much of an overreaction?
That is overreacting.
Oh, okay.
He can be just fine at best.
Josh Allen.
That is also overreacting because I think he's gonna always have those games, no matter how good he is the rest of his career. I think he's always bound to have a game or two of that per year. And it's just the way he plays the game, because he has such a unique skill set that he's going to take kind of different chances. They're not always going to be the great chances. He's not the smartest quarterback out there, but he does understand the game well enough. But he's just going to have these games. So it just happened to happen the first game of the year this year where the whole team wasn't getting anything going. He'll be just fine. 2
more for you. Kyler Murray.
I think he's a very good quarterback. So I don't
think he could be in that top 5 range.
Yeah, I don't think it's overreacting. It's just not, as a pure thrower. No, you don't want to go there, because at the end of the day, he isn't just a godly pure thrower. He's a good enough pure thrower and has this combined rushing ability. But that's where the quarterback game's going nowadays anyway. He's 100% worth that conversation. I thought he was going to be worth that conversation coming into the year.
And then finally, Ryan Tannehill, overreaction would be he is not nearly as good as what we expected.
I think that is also an overreaction. So I think the only one that was proper reactions really here is Kyler Murray. I think Tannehill, just week 1, new offensive coordinator, not a single piece of that offense got working. And the offensive line did not play well. Dylan Radon ended up being a healthy scratch. It's not great. He's got to figure that out so he can help, better pass protect and run block. So going down the road, we're going to see this Titans team be a lot more efficient offensively, and we're going to realize that we were just kind of panicking.
All right, well, talking about quarterbacks, Graham got me his list.
Let's go.
So let's talk about it here. Patrick Mahomes, number 1. Pretty obvious.
No.
Pretty obvious right there.
No, sorry.
Josh Allen being number 2.
Good man.
A little hot for me. I think Josh Allen is right in that 4 to 6 range. I think that's a good range for him. You could argue, like Tom Brady, because he just gets the wins. I think talent-wise, Josh Allen's already better than Tom Brady at this moment in his career. But, when you're looking at best quarterback in the league right now, wins do matter. Number 3, Kyler Murray. After this week, it sounds pretty good, but there's still a couple quarterbacks I'd take over Kyler.
Yeah, I want you to kind of finish this list first before I make too many comments, but I wouldn't have Josh Allen 2 or Kyler Murray 3.
All right, you want to just run through it then? Go ahead, 10.
Yeah, just go through it real quick.
All right, number 4, Dak Prescott. Number 5, Ryan Tannehill. Number 6, Lamar Jackson. Number 7, Tom Brady. Number 8, Russell Wilson. Number 9, Aaron Rodgers. Number 10, Matt Stafford.
I put Lamar at the bottom of that list. I'm going to be honest. I already think Kyler is better than Lamar. I don't think Lamar is as bad as the thrower as people make him out to be, but he's also not a very strong thrower. He's got a good arm and he can place it well enough, but it's not like he's ever going to break the bank with throwing the ball. Where I think Kyler Murray generally, I talked about it just, a couple minutes ago. He's not going to be some world-beating type passer, but he can be a good enough passer, definitely better than Lamar, and run at a similar efficiency if that's how the game plan was for them. So I think Kyler's pretty safely above that, and all those other quarterbacks, I think, have just shown too much where they are just better than Lamar. I think Lamar offers such a unique thing, but at the end of the day, I'd like to see him truly quarterback more.
I like Lamar, and I think I like him even more after this Monday night game. I thought he played really well aside from his 2 fumbles. And that was without a ton of weapons. They've got wide receivers injured, running backs injured, all that. I think I think Lamar and Dak are very neck and neck for me. Before this year, I'd say Lamar. Dak looked really good. Ryan Tannehill will be at the bottom of the list for me. I think that's, give me Russ, give me Rodgers, give me Stafford, give me Brady, give me Lamar, give me everyone that is on this list over Tannehill. I'd take Derek Carr over Tannehill right now.
I would not. Tannehill would be, just based on those 10 names, Tannehill would be my number 9 and Lamar would be my number 10. And then Stafford would probably be my 8. So that there's 10 and 8, just kind of thinking loosely. Mahomes number 1. My number 2 is probably Tom Brady at the end of the day, regardless. He's still Tom Brady. Can't really dispute that. But like from there, like that 3 to 7, like I could really go a couple different ways there. So that is kind of tough.
Yeah. Graham just texted me, what's it for? with a scared face. I love it.
He's going to find out.
Yes, he is. But yeah, I mean, I don't hate the list as much as I remember, just because when we were doing this list back on the grad party, I was saying Kyler Murray, I don't know. I think he'd be like right on the brink of my top 10. I think I had him 11 or 12. You looked phenomenal. Having him 3, still a little bit high for me, but he's a very good quarterback. Tannehill, too high for me. He wouldn't be in my top 10. But other than that, I like the players. Just got to move them around a little bit for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Next up, Chase, we'll do my final question here. I'm very interested in this one. This isn't really a question that even needs to be on the podcast. This could have been just a question that I shoot in the group chat, but I really like it. So, using the wide receivers from the past 3 drafts, 2019, 2020, 2021, you have to make a core 3 of wide receivers going forward for your team.
Okay.
Who would that be? You got to, I think, well, I won't say. I'll wait until after you pick your wide receivers. So this goes back to 2019, which is the Marquise Brown, N'Keal Harry, A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf class. Calvin Ridley was the one before, so can't use him.
Right.
But then everything up until this point.
So this is kind of tough. Like, there's been a lot of very good, promising receivers in these classes. So, really, I think I want to lock Jerry Jeudy into the slot. I think that's what I want to lock. So we'll start with that and then move to the perimeter.
And before you go, heartbreaking that Jerry Jeudy goes out with a high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
4 to 6 weeks, I think it was.
Yep.
Hoping to get him back soon because I have him on my dynasty team, and he looked really good this past week.
He looked ready to break 1,200 yards and like 6 touchdowns. With 6 touchdowns with Teddy Bridgewater means you are the best receiver in the league. So he looked ready to dominate this year.
Yeah. So prayers out to Jerry Jeudy. Hopefully he get better soon. Sorry, continue.
No, you're good. So I'll start with Jeudy in the slot. Here's where it really gets tricky. I think I'm going to go DK Metcalf on one of the outsides, just matchup nightmare. That size speed combo is just really elite. And from there, man, it's tough. Yeah, there's a couple names, A.J. Brown, Terry McLaurin, Jamar Chase are 3 names that really come to mind. CeeDee Lamb, of course, is in that realm too. Justin Jefferson just broke records.
Yep.
If I really had to land on one, I think I'm going to take the upside that we have not even seen yet with Jamar Chase. I think that right now, CeeDee Lamb might actually be a legitimately better prospect just based on what we saw from Jamar Chase in the offseason and preseason. But week 1, he looked like he belonged, and he looked like he more than belonged. He looked like he was ready to be a pretty good NFL receiver. So that's optimistic to see. I'm going to take that chance. Worst case scenario, he can be the number 3 in that receiving group. If you have DK on the outside and Jerry Jeudy in the slot, it really does not matter who the other outside guy is.
I got to agree with you on DK just because, gosh, he is such a nightmare. He's huge. He's got the speed. And a lot of people, when he came into the league, didn't think he had the route running or the hands. He's proven that he sure does now. So DK Metcalf, definitely going to be one of my guys. And I'm very interested to whoever's listening right now. If you're hearing this question and you really want to get on the action, let us know who your 3 wide receivers would be. Let us know down in the comments below. But yeah, DK Metcalf, I like Jerry Jeudy, but I don't know if he is up to the level of some of the other guys from what we've seen thus far. I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb. I love CeeDee Lamb. He's probably my number 1 receiving prospect right now in the league. And the nice thing, I think CeeDee Lamb could play outside or inside. I think he could play some slot. And then do I have to go Jamar Chase? I feel like I have to. But I think Terry McLaurin could be another great pick there. But I'll go Jamar Chase.
Yeah, and
3.
Like that's all fair. I think CeeDee Lamb is a bit wasted in the slot, where I think Jerry Jeudy is going to be most utilized in the slot.
Yeah.
So that's
I think Jamar Chase can play slot too. I think I got 2 guys that can really intermix.
And that's fine. But like at the end of the day, CeeDee Lamb is going to dominate on the outside. Jamar Chase is going to dominate on the outside. Jerry Jeudy would do good on the outside, but Jerry Jeudy, I think, like especially between those 3 draft classes and being in the actual slot, nobody would come close. Nobody would even sniff Jerry Jeudy's level because he's just got such a great route tree. He's so strong in his routes. His routes are exactly, however they're drawn up is how he's going to run them, which makes him really good at just, getting off those defenders on his final cuts. And if you have that slot receiver 8 to 10 yards downfield, they're turning every catch for an extra 8-9 yards. So he's going to have more rack yards than just actual depth of target yards. And if you can have that in an NFL receiver, I mean, that's a pretty damn good thing to have.
Yeah, I agree. I love having Jerry Jeudy on my dynasty team. And I think when you're looking at pure slot receiver, he's probably got to be the best pure slot receiver that's come out of the draft in the last 3 years. I just feel like CeeDee Lamb, which was our only difference at this point, CeeDee Lamb, I just feel like is a better player overall. So that's why I had to go CD. And there's not really bias because I own both CD and Jerry Jeudy.
Now there's bias.
Maybe I just go Denzel Mims.
Yeah.
My boy.
Yeah.
I want to see him play more. I'm pissed that he's not.
Maybe he should have been better in training camp then.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. All right, let's move on to week 2 predictions here. Here are our locks of the week. I've decided my matchups on every single game but 2. I think there's 2 matchups that are really close that I'm like, oh man, I don't know which route to go. I might just go opposite of you. We'll see. I don't know.
All right. Sounds good.
Giants at the Washington football team.
So
what are we feeling?
It's Washington.
That's a shocker.
Should I go any more in depth than that? I think they have the better offense, even with their Heineke quarterback. I think they have the better defense. I think they have the better special teams. I think they have the better coaching staff. I think they're better in every single way.
I thought you said Daniel Jones in that offense is going to be like top 15 or something.
Last year.
Oh, my bad.
That's out the window now.
Garrett's trying to get rid of Saquon. I mean, I'd love Saquon, but at the same time, I'm not going to give up like a Najee Harris and a first and stuff.
No. I offered him what I think is fair, and I would not offer him. I would maybe take a slight tweak, but I would not offer more than what it is. And It's literally like 6 pieces for one.
Yeah, I texted and asked him what his price was. I'm like, I'm not offering anything. I'm not trying to negotiate. Just what's your price? And he said, I don't know. I'm like, okay, well then that goes out the window.
Yep.
All right, New England at the New York Jets. Does Zach Wilson and the Jets finally take home their first win? I say finally. It's only been 1 week.
No.
No, they don't.
No, sorry. They don't. Like, they're just not that special of a team right now. They still got to kind of get together. Robert Sala's really got to, kind of group them all together and keep trucking forward. It's going to be some growing pains. They can get there down the road maybe, but right now they're not there.
I agree. How about Jacksonville? Do they get their first win over Denver?
No.
Gonna have to agree with this one as well.
Denver's defense is fantastic. It's going to suck without Jerry Jeudy in the lineup, but hell, just means KJ Hamler's going to break out.
All right, here you go. Buffalo at Miami. I feel like you're going to pick Buffalo on this one. I could be wrong. But this is one of the matchups that I did not pick yet because if Buffalo comes in how they looked this past week 1 against the Steelers, I feel like Miami can take that. I feel like they could take that game. But then again, the last time Buffalo and Miami played, I think it was like a 51-17 slaughtering or something last year in like week 17.
Yeah, I remember that game. I think Buffalo's going to win this one. I just think they're the better team. Even if Buffalo plays like better than they do, I think the Dolphins still have a chance. I think it's closer to 50-50 than it is to like being 70-30, for example. But I do think the Bills will come out on this one. I think they're going to rebound off of the struggles in week 1 performance and take advantage of the Dolphins.
So I picked Buffalo last week. I was wrong. I picked New England to beat Miami last week. I was wrong. So let's try to amend that with a Miami pick.
There you go.
That's what I'll do. All right, San Francisco at Philly. You won with Philly last time. You want to go again?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. The 49ers scored 41 points. Elijah Mitchell played fantastic. I'm a little wary for fantasy-wise. You spent $100 on him.
I did.
And
I'm wary too, I'll be honest. Like, I am very scared that this could end up being a full committee or it could get injured or whatever the case is. But I already lost Travis Etienne. I had to do everything I could to try to get another running back that could be competent for my team.
Yeah. So this could very well be a James Robinson situation. Wouldn't be impossible where Elijah Mitchell comes in and gets the majority of work because he's got, enough of drafts like stock invested in him. And Trey Sermon, he just has struggled apparently in training camp. I don't know. I didn't see it regardless. So if that happens and he plays like James Robinson, then it's worth every, penny that you spent. But go ahead, say something.
I was just going to say, like, right now, I don't have him in my starting lineup, even though I spent $100 on him. He just hasn't cracked my lineup, which is a good thing for my team, but I needed that insurance if I had an injury or during the buys.
Yeah, that's fair. And odds are he does not live up to you spending $100 on him. He just does not. But when your team is desperate for running back, you kind of got to do what you got to do. It is what it is. I think the 49ers in real football are just going to be the significantly better team in this one. Philly's fine, but like that's really all they are. I still think they're going to end up scoring, possibly 40 points again.
And I'd rather spend $100 on Eli Mitchell than give up Robert Woods for Alexander Madison and Gerald Everett.
Yeah. It's like, maybe he's really desperate.
No, absolutely not. I told you like 2 days before that. I'm like, I'm just not going to get desperate because that's how I'll get screwed. Yeah. And then you're like, all right, let's just throw him the worst trade offers ever.
Yeah. I figured maybe.
All right. Matt Stafford, the best quarterback in the league versus the Indianapolis Colts. Who do you got?
The best quarterback in the history of football, according to the media, actually. Keep that in mind. But this one could be a pretty good game. I'm going to lean the Rams in this one. They looked too good on Sunday night, and it wasn't to the point where, like, oh, they're so good that they're going to fall. They looked to the point where, like, they could keep this up every single week. And I think they're going to keep it rolling more often than not. The Colts should provide a pretty solid challenge, but I think the Rams are just the better team. I'm
going the Rams as well. Las Vegas at Pittsburgh for the next contest. Man, I hate the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think everyone knows that, but I had to go Pittsburgh. I just think their defense is too good at this point.
Give me the Raiders. Let's go. I'm riding this train.
Sounds good.
This is really not like an analysis pick. This is just a heart pick. I would love for the Raiders to win this one. I'm very out on the Steelers this year, as I kind of mentioned. Their offense didn't look very good. Like Najee Harris struggled. The passing game was just whatever. Like they didn't look that great. They just looked better than the Bills. And defensively they looked good, I should say. But offensively, at least, they really didn't.
Right.
So if the Raiders play like they did the second half of that game, it's the Ravens, then like they're just like they're gonna beat the Steelers.
I'm hoping that Najee can do something because
I've got him in a couple of redrafts. I also agree. I got him in. I think the one best one left in too. So yeah.
Yeah. I invested a lot into him, so you better pan out here. Speaking of trains that we're riding, the Cincinnati Bengals, they go to Chicago, to the Windy City to play the Bears. And Andy Dalton. Is this Andy Dalton's revenge game, or is this an easy win for the Bengals like I think it is?
Andy Dalton is so lucky that it's the Bengals because Justin Fields would be starting week 2. He looked so bad in week 1. He looked like he does not belong on the field. But he's playing the Bengals. He got to play his old team before he gets benched. And he's going to get benched during this game because he's going to look bad. And the Bengals are going to start 2-0 somehow.
Somehow? How dare you? We're starting 4-0 this year.
Oh, okay.
I think we have the Steelers in week 3, which is going to be the toughest matchup. But then we have the Jags on Thursday Night Football. They might be switched. Maybe Jags is week 3, Steelers week 4. But anyways, those are our first 4 matchups. So 4-0, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I do think that they will actually win this game, though. So we'll see.
Cleveland, they're at home hosting the Houston Texans. Tyrod Taylor revenge game coming.
Okay, a Tyrod Taylor revenge game just called an NFL football game because he's been everywhere. He's like Ryan Fitzmagic.
I want a Tyrod revenge game against the Chargers.
What? So he can throw for 202 yards, a touchdown, no picks, and then they lose 14-7.
Well, I want him to throw the ball at the doctor on the sideline.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. No, the Browns are winning, and it's not going to be close.
You say that,
Mike.
You say that, but we thought the Jags had the easy win.
The Texans also played the last place team in the league last year. We got to keep that in mind. No matter what we thought they were going to be going forward, no matter the faith we have, they were still the last place.
I didn't think they were going to be much, but you had them at like 9 wins or something.
No, I did not. I had them at like 6 wins.
New Orleans at Carolina. I think this is going to be a really fun game. You got Jameis, who looked absolutely amazing. You got Carolina, who didn't look as good as I thought they would, but they're a young, bright team. Sam Darnold coming into his second game in the system. Could be fun.
Yeah, it could be. I think the Saints are going to come out with the win in this one. It should be a pretty entertaining game. I don't think Jameis is going to have the efficiency they did last week, where 33% of his pass completions ended up in touchdowns. Like that's just not going to happen. But he can throw for 3 touchdowns again. They could get 1 or 2 on the ground. This could be a game where they could win by 2 or 3 scores. It could be close. I do think that the Saints are going to win no matter how it goes. But I think it's kind of how we mentioned the Bucs game was going to be, where it could be either a blowout or it could be really close. I don't think it's going to be like a middling type thing.
I agree that the efficiency isn't going to be there for Jameis, and that's why I'm going with the better running back. Give me Christian McCaffrey and the Carolina Panthers. I'm on the Matt Rule train, so that's why I'm taking them at home. Lock it in. I don't know what the odds are, but the Saints are definitely favored. Give me the money line. Give me everything.
I'm going to type that in and look up NFL Week 2 lines. But no, the best running back in this game is Tony Jones Jr., my friend. Sorry.
Just because you picked him up for, what was it, $7?
Yeah.
Nice.
I have him in both dynasty leagues as well. I picked him up like earlier in the offseason. But I do actually like Tony Jones looked pretty good in the preseason. He's not going to be like some unreal runner, but he did actually look pretty solid. Beside the point, CMC is definitely the better running back. The Panthers, I don't want to say it's impossible to win this game, but I really just in my heart feel like it's just going to be the Saints no matter what. What?
Oh, no.
What?
Okay, so by the way, Graham said he would change his list up a bit now, but he's pretty sure that's what he had that list. He just texted me, here's the new rankings just in case. So we'll talk about them. Sure, why not, right?
Okay.
Right in the middle of this, remember, Chase had New Orleans, I had Carolina.
And New Orleans are 3-point favorites.
Oh, really? That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. New rankings, new quarterback rankings from our buddy Graham Weaver. And we'll have him on the show soon. We just got to get another mic because this new system doesn't allow us to.
You need another mic. I'm tired of this mic.
How dare you? Patrick Mahomes, number 1. Kyler Murray, number 2. Josh Allen, number 3. Dak Prescott, number 4. Tom Brady, 5. Russell Wilson, 6. Matt Stafford, 7. Justin Herbert, 8. Number 9, Lamar Jackson.
Oh, my God. Aaron Rodgers in the top 10.
It sounds pretty good, though. And then number 10, Jalen Hurts.
Oh, my God. Graham.
Jalen Hurts is number
10. I didn't know you started doing drugs, Graham. Like Aaron Rodgers should never ever. I don't care if like Aaron Rodgers tore both his ACLs and got an arm cut off in a car accident. He's not going to be ranked below Jalen Hurts for me ever in NFL quarterback rankings. Sorry.
Okay, it says week 1 above it. Maybe he's just ranking them based off of their week 1 performances.
That don't mean, Dick, that means you're not ranking the quarterbacks. It means you're ranking the quarterback performances. We're ranking the quarterbacks.
Yeah. I guess he's buying into the hype on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I know he is. He has him in Dynasty and thinks he's going to be like a top-line quarterback, which for fantasy-wise he could be if he runs the ball a lot. But like for NFL quarterbacks, he's not going to be good enough to help the Eagles win a lot of games.
All right, we got our pick from Garrett as well. He just texted me. He has the Washington football team taking the Thursday night game, but he didn't make any other picks. So,
all right, well,
wait on
I
that.
think we're all going to pick Washington football team, to be honest.
I sure hope so. All right, Minnesota at Arizona.
Yeah, this one, it could be interesting. I think that Minnesota's going to bounce back after the game against the Bengals. I don't think they're going to like be going down without a fight in this Cardinals game. The Cardinals might be riding, a little too high, like on their high horses, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But I still got the Cardinals in this one. They are 4-point favorites. I just think that this team's got more going for it around them than the Vikings do currently. Even though the Vikings should end up being a better team than last season, I still don't know how much faith I have in the whole NFC North division.
I got Arizona as well. I am a little nervous. Kyler last year, he had some inconsistent stints where he was phenomenal and then he really dipped down. I'm hoping that's not the case this week. So yeah, Arizona. I got you penciled in for Tampa over Atlanta. Do you want me to change that?
No.
Okay, well. Tennessee at Seattle. This one, what is it? The home of the 12 or whatever? Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me Seattle. Tennessee's trash.
You know what?
Oh, boy.
Just for the hell of it.
Let's do it.
I'll take the Titans. I don't love it. I don't feel great about it. But if they were going to come back and bounce back in a big way, this would be the type of game they would, where they kind of come and surprise everybody and just completely mitigate the first 2 weeks. It's just like, they'd have the same expectations as coming into the season because they'd have such a bad start and such a great second game that they'd be back to neutral. I think that very well could happen. Being 5.5-point favorites for the Seahawks, I would trust Seattle to cover this. I don't think they're going to be losing by anything big, even if they do lose. But I think that the Titans could definitely come in, and Derrick Henry, if he's feeling it, I mean, he's locked in for 200 yards.
No, we're going to let Russ cook. Sorry.
No, last time they tried letting Russ cook, and then the kitchen burned down.
Yeah, well, it wasn't until like 8 hours of cooking. You know, the last 8 hours went poorly, but the first 8 hours were really good.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, Dallas versus the LA Chargers. This was the other game that I was hung up on. Didn't know who to pick. I just finally picked. But who do you got?
Right. Well, I'm going to make my decision first, so you don't think I'm just copying you, because we are both taking the Chargers in this one that are 3-point favorites in this one. The Chargers are going to come out with a win, and with that face, maybe you pick the Cowboys. I don't know, but I think if the Chargers come out with winning this one, Cowboys start 0-2, a little spooky start for them to start the year. But the Chargers, they got a solid team. Austin Eckler's gonna get more involved. I really like this defense. I think it's a sneaky, undercover, good defense. I don't think it gets enough credit. I think I talked about this last week. I think we're gonna kind of see that happen here. I
got the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, this one's so hard for me to pick. I like the Chargers a lot. I love Justin Herbert. And DeMarcus Lawrence is out. So I don't know. This one might change before Sunday.
Soft. Lock it in now. Lock it in.
Lock it in.
Lock it in.
All right, I'll lock in Dallas.
There we go.
Give me Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. That offense is so powerful. I feel like the only offenses that can go toe-to-toe with the Dallas offense is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Cincinnati Bengals.
I don't want to forget this real quick. I know it's not a college football show today, but do you see that Nick Saban just loves saying D's nuts?
No.
Yeah, I saw the report that apparently Nick Saban's current favorite saying this year is just he's going around saying D's nuts. I think that's freaking hilarious.
That is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Oh, I love it. Just imagine this 70-year-old man just walking around just saying that.
Yeah.
What a legend.
Gosh. Hey, Scott, we got a new recruit, D's. D's? Who? D's nuts. And Nick Saban, too. This dude he seems like as stale as it can get. So right? That just seems like the best thing ever.
Yeah, it really is. All right, let's move on.
Kansas City at Baltimore.
Man.
Sunday night game.
Baltimore struggled a little bit, in this game. I think that the Chiefs are probably just generally speaking, maybe the best roster in the NFL. I don't know. I'm looking for the line here. I'm struggling finding it. There we go. The Chiefs are 3-point favorites in this one on the road Sunday night. I still think I'm going to lean the Chiefs. I think the Ravens can bounce back and look a little bit better than they did to finish that game, but I just think the Chiefs are going to be too hard to overpower. Mahomes is going to continue winning in the month of September.
I've got the Chiefs as well. They're going to be the AFC North's kryptonite, aside from the Bengals.
And can we not talk about Monday night?
Can we
not talk about the Monday night game coming up?
No, we kind of have to make our prediction.
We know what we're gonna pick. Let's just cut the show early.
Well, we kind of got to make the prediction on air, Chase. Come on, lock it in now. Remember?
So we saw what happened on Sunday with the Packers, right?
Yeah, they were garbage. Yeah, they were garbage,
and they're still 10.5-point favorites.
What?
Yeah,
they're 10.5 point. I mean, I guess it's at Green Bay, but 10.5-point favorites when Aaron Rodgers looked terrible. And Detroit had one of the craziest almost comebacks.
Yeah, I'm going to take Detroit to cover, but Green Bay's going to win this game. I would, if I'm putting money on this, I'm taking Detroit to cover 10.5. Even though it'd be a nervous bet, because it'd still be favorable odds for you to take them to cover that. But historically, anytime that Aaron Rodgers has had one of these bad games, literally every single game the next week, he's dominated, put up best quarterback of the week numbers. So this very well could happen with a horrible, horrible Detroit Lions defense. But I also think that the Packers defense is nothing, really to write home about. So maybe the Lions kind of show the same spark they did there in the fourth and kind of do a little backdoor cover Jackson type again. I think the game will be closer than the 10.5-point spread, implies, but it's also not going to be pretty.
Yeah, I got Green Bay taking it as well. And that means we have 5 differences this week.
Let's go.
That's a lot.
That's what I need.
That's a lot of differences.
Yeah.
Buffalo, Miami, Pittsburgh, Las Vegas, Carolina, New Orleans, Seattle, Tennessee, and Dallas versus the Chargers.
Interesting. I'm in. It's going to make for an exciting Sunday of football, which we're going to probably spend some of it driving in the car.
Yeah, that's going to be unfortunate.
Yeah, it is going to be. I don't want to drive anymore. I'm going to watch the Red Zone.
I got to set my lineups today because in the car, I'm going to completely forget.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of the WNP podcast, unless Chase wants to say anything else.
Nope.
I think he's just in pain right now because we had to talk about the Lions.
Yeah, very, very much, and I still can't breathe.
Oh, good. All right, well, that's it for the show. If you want to stay up to date with what we do, you can follow us on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. It's again on Twitter at WNP Sports Pod. We've got a Facebook and an Instagram as well. If you want to check that out, links will be down in the description. We would really appreciate it. If you're listening on YouTube right now, if you could give us a like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to turn on notifications, we'd really appreciate that. And in the comments there, we talked about a bunch of stuff. Give us your locks of the week. Let us know who you would take for that 3 core of wide receivers. Let us know everything that you have on your mind right now down in the comments below. If you're listening on a podcast platform, if you could please follow us and rate us 5 stars, we would really appreciate that. Thanks so much for listening. And as always, we're not professionals.